Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's going on, guys? Tuesday night live stream, Comic News Weekly. If you don't know by now, every Tuesday night, 9 p.m., we're talking about some of the biggest topics within comics for this week. Even though it's the beginning of the week, we are covering some from last week, some that just came out. But either way, have some great topics to discuss. We're going to talk about a little bit of Boondock Saints, talking about a new Iron Fist. We're talking about a new comics union that formed at Image. And we're talking about some of those Eternals MCU reviews. So some great topics tonight. Before we get into that, we got people coming into the chat. While at the same time, let's bring the panelists into the show from Tales from the Flip Side YouTube channel. We have Brian McClay.
Yo, yo, yo. Let's do it.
I'm
I'm really looking forward to this Boondock Saints talk.
Yes.
So very interesting. I didn't even look much into it.
Oh, it's going to be exciting. Do you want to just talk about it before we bring the others in?
Let's do it.
But we can't do that from Dink Comics on YouTube as well. Make sure you guys check out his channel. We have Mr. Dan Kim. What's going on, buddy?
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we missed you last week.
Yeah, it's been
definitely missed you, but helping out a friend in need, no one can complain about that. Yeah. And Mr. Alberto Jefe himself, Comic Man Andy on YouTube. We have 4 YouTubers in the panel tonight. What's going on, Alberto?
What is up? And in classic fashion, I'm here to push your buttons tonight every Tuesday night.
It's not just Tuesday night you push my buttons. But before we get into it, I mean, Halloween came and went. I saw some great pictures. I saw some awesome pictures on Instagram. All of us are on Instagram. Make sure you're following Simpleman's Comics, Comic Man Andy, Brian McClay, Tales from the Flip Side, Dank Comics, all available on Instagram. But lots of great pictures. I always love the pictures of people's children on Halloween because that's what it's truly about, passing out candy, seeing, and then seeing what the trends are. I mean, I still see a lot of Pennywise, which is carrying over.
And I like the Transformers.
Yes. And we're not quite back, at least in my neighborhood, we're not quite back to pre-COVID levels, but it was nice to see a larger crowd of trick-or-treaters out. And my kids just don't know how to rough it, man. We did like 2 or 3 streets, and my oldest was like, I'm tired. And I was like, nope. Yeah, get candy.
Back in the day, man, I remember we would go out and we would go back home and then go back out again.
Yeah.
Well, I go out once for candy, go out the second time for mischief.
Yes, yes, you got it.
But let's not talk about that. Anyways, great topics tonight. The first one is ironic because just 2 days ago on a conference call, I was talking to a coworker about, you always movie lines and quotes, and I used a lot of Boondock Saints quotes. And then a day afterwards, we get news that there's going to be a Boondock Saints #3. So I was super excited about this news. If you are watching this, if you guys are in the chat and you guys have not watched Boondock Saints, you are truly missing out on cinema masterpiece. This, to me, at my age, is my Citizen Kane. Boondock Saints 2 wasn't as good, but still good enough. But I did Boondock Saints #1, iconic movie. Willem Dafoe deserves an Oscar. But
one of the greatest scenes in all of movies. His scene.
Yes, before Daryl Dixon, Norman Reedus was known for Boondock Saints, and that's definite. I'm excited about this. We got Norman Reedus, we got Sean Patrick Flannery coming back, we got Duffy coming back as director. So we have a lot of the same creative team. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Are you excited as well?
I'm worried about Duffy. Like he's kind of a head case, right? Am I wrong about that? Isn't he kind of like one of those guys that, mid movie, he's gonna figure out any way he can to leave the project type deal? I mean, I remember back in the day, like so many issues that he had where movies would get canceled, this and that, and but it's kind of cool. Is Willem Dafoe gonna be in it?
So and I'll put the link to the article in the chat too. So they were trying to get him in there, but as of right now, his rep said he is not involved. They're trying to bring back. I almost wish they never killed off Rocco the Funny Man.
Yeah.
Or make it a prequel. But I'm Rocco. I'm the Funny Man.
Yeah.
So, and as much as I didn't like the second one as much, I can't complain about Julie Benz being the character in it. Because, I mean, especially her in, was it season 3 of Dexter, right?
Oh, yeah.
But Julie Benz is definitely, and they always have catchphrases. The only thing I didn't like about the second one is they basically copied the formula from the first one and redid it type, where it wasn't too much enough change to the story to make a difference. But evidently, Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus have been, fighting to keep the third movie alive and trying to get it put together for a while now. Of course, I know Norman Reedus has been tied up in Walking Dead, and his own reality show where he goes riding motorcycles across everywhere, right?
Yep. And a video game too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Andy, have you watched Boondock Saints?
Oh, how dare you ask me that? Yes.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I might be in the same shelf as Patsy Cline, or just kidding.
Well, you say like Boondock Saints is like your Citizen Kane. I'm right there with you. This is one of those movies that I absolutely fell in love with. The way it was done, how gritty it was, the acting was right. It's an instant cult classic for me. To the point where, when they go to do the second movie, the second movie really had to be on point. For me, the second movie struggled with writing and the budget, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially when you have a 9-year gap between them, and as soon as you announce it, people are going to be excited for it. So now, 9-year gap between the first and second one. And second one came out in 2009, so we even have a little bit larger gap. But fan favorite, it's like if it's a Bruce Campbell movie, I'm going to see it. If it's a Boondock Saints, I'm there to see it as well.
Which has me a little worried because Flannery had that perfect look in the first movie, and then the second movie, I'm like, that's not him? Like half the movie, I'm like, that's not the same guy, is it? And sure enough, it is. So we'll see what's going to happen 11 years later.
Dan.
Yeah, I mean, what's cool about, I guess, Boondock Saints is like some guy wrote a script and it got so much heat that, it created this whole crazy world, this fantasy world of a young hotshot, and then flamed out and was like totally overshadowed by the Matrix. And then the sequel happens and it's not as good as, he was claiming if he had all the control. And so it's like a weird third act of watching someone's career in auteur like kind of get famous too young and grapple with that and like watching like what that means. So for me, that's what I enjoy. I don't remember part 2 at all. I saw it. I don't remember that movie at all. But first one, yeah. First one's very memorable.
I can't think of can't remember the actor's name, but he was like in 187, been in a bunch of other stuff. Basically the Rocco guy in the second one, right? Who's the bare knuckle boxer who starts off the movie with his
Billy
hands
Connolly?
tied behind him for 5 minutes. He needs a catchphrase. Was it like "Ding dong, bitches"? when he shoots someone. But I don't know. I'm excited. People in the chat, what do you guys think about Boondock Saints? No matter what, though, that first movie itself is kind of holds its place in pop culture history.
Yep.
I mean, I won't say Rocky Horror Picture Show type, but I mean, a lot of people. It's one of those movies when someone's like, Boondock Saints, what's that? And then you kind of draw back and be like, you never seen Boondock Saints?
Yeah, that's exactly what that movie is. You're
You
100%
and your stupid
right.
rope.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like like Citizen Kane was the first film Orson Welles ever made. It feels like like one of those amazing first films that just like came out of nowhere because the person just didn't know just enough to make this spectacular, strange film.
Yeah. And then you got in the first one you got a stand-up comedian playing an assassin, right? What's his name? Connolly.
Yeah, Billy Connolly.
Yeah. Back in old school comedian. He was back when what was the HBO?
Yeah, After Dark stuff.
Yeah, and then they did the events with Whoopi Goldberg and
Yeah.
So
He made me
Comic
think
relief.
of the Saint of Killers when I saw him in that film. When he came out, I was like, oh, that's the Saint of Killers.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's not so much comic book, but it's definitely a place in pop culture, and it's super exciting news. As soon as it went, I saw it spread all over the place. A lot of people on social media are excited about it, but I think also it's one of those things where you hold on to the first one so much, but I don't expect great things from the third, but I'm excited to see it.
I'm kind of excited because further down in the article, and I'm not finding it at the moment, but Reedus and Flannery are getting some, either director or producing credits on this as well, making me feel like they have a much bigger hand in this than they did the second film.
Yeah, and they helped write it, I believe. At least Sean Patrick Flannery did.
There's no comic book Boondock Saints.
That's a great question. I'm not sure. There might not be. There has to be, right?
There has to be.
Yeah, it would be one of those.
Yeah, those are like one of the easy buckets. There is?
Yeah.
Like Boom or something? Early Boom.
BoondockSaints.com. 12 gauge. 12 gauge comics.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Might have to look into those. See how rare they are to find.
Yeah, I've never seen one. Yeah. Pretty awesome covers.
First Norman Reedus in comics.
Some of them look kind of like Matrix covers. And it's funny, you know, maybe they, like you said, Dan, they saw the Matrix coming back and he was probably like, fuck that, I'm bringing back Boondock.
Yeah.
So that's how he sounds, just like that, I'm sure. But getting over into comics, Dan, we had Image Comics with some news, right?
Yes, the employees at Image Comics have formed a union called the Comic Book Workers United, and I guess it's the first union of its kind at a major comic book publisher. And it's not the creators necessarily; it's the staff that works at the main head office or whatever. So, and you know, this is good. I think it makes sense. I don't know. It's tough business, and we need people to not like live in fear to make good product. I mean, to make good stories and not make mistakes.
I felt like Image was always that place, though, right?
It does seem different when it's like creator owned and then the unionized type.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe they weren't giving office staff pensions and stuff. Maybe, I don't know. They just had an office because they're just the creators get the bulk of all the money basically, so they're the
yeah, I think it marks the first time a major publisher had its employees unionized and include salary, workload transparency, continued work remote options for employees, actionable plan to address lack of diversity, and the addition of collective voting option to immediately cancel publication of any title whose creator or creators have been found to have engaged in abuse, sexual assault, or bigotry. And to me, that's kind of a fine line because, what's gonna define abuse, sexual assault, and bigotry? Is it hearsay? Or is there proof? Or is it because like right now, once something catches in the cesspool of Twitter and it gains momentum, there's no stopping with the whole cancel culture. And now is that just giving them the power to automatically like, screw you, you're fired? Or is it innocent till proven guilty? Or is it my friend who was a friend who was a friend who was at the malt shop next to where that happened, heard about it and saw it, and I think it's true, you're fired?
So my question is, I wonder if how like I don't know if you guys have ever had this happen, but I've had a couple jobs where like they'll send like union people, like my state is not a big union state, and they'll send like union people like to the places where a lot of people eat off campus or something, and they'll kind of like try to start a little bug in your ear. You know what I mean? So I wonder if somebody one of those people thought we need to go get into the comic industry, and they went, let's try Image first. You know what I mean? If they picked Image first, because that's the weird thing to me. Like, did the Image employees really start this? That, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Right. One of the things that's outlined in here, well, it's not outlined, but I'm going to highlight it here. One of the quotes was, oh boy, I just lost it. Keeping our heads above water was the new normal before the pandemic, and since its onset, we have been expected to take on even larger workloads with fewer resources. I feel like this is every company in this country right now.
I say join the club.
Join the club, yeah. And coming from Michigan, which was a big union state for a long, long time in the auto industry. I've got very mixed feelings about this because I agree with a lot of things they say in this article, but in the end of the day, we look at the auto industry and what the unions do for there, and they do more protecting of workers that need to not be in those positions or situations. And you go out to any local Detroit area where there's lots of unionized stuff going on, and there's just the union lunch break is a legit thing, and it happens in Detroit, and it's a liquid lunch, and there's a lot going on, and the unions put so many barricades in front of upper level management and mid level management to take care of teams and build them and hone them and kind of weed out some individuals that have become past their prime. It's a scary thing that can happen in this, but it's not the creative element of Image, right? It's not the writers, it's not the artists, because it's creator owned. We're talking the production side of things, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking about staff.
And
Staffers.
also, like, they don't have the money like Detroit in the auto industry did, you know? So, like, it's like a completely... I didn't even know this was an issue.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah,
Well, it also says that the reason that they kind of chose Image is because of that's how Image was formed, right? It was a bunch of, the bigger creators saying, hey, we think we deserve more, or for what we're doing, or for whatever reason. And maybe that was a big deal for why they did it.
I can't speak for their conditions. I haven't seen them or been a part of that. I can just speak from what I've seen, and it's like, man, sometimes unionizing can be a scary thing. I mean, not just because you could potentially be breaking ground and creating new things and creating changes that lead to better things, but there's a flip side to that coin as well.
It's like a Tales from the Flip Side.
Yeah, a union over there.
I can't sit here and judge from my side of the table when I'm not involved in those situations. It's just the question to me as a comic buyer is it going to affect the bottom line for comic books, or where is it going to lead to? Is this going to be something that we see more and more within comic book publishers, especially within, I won't say independent, but more the small press? It'd be interesting to watch and see how it goes. It does shock me with, I do have some contention with that line of like, hey, collective voting option to basically fire someone because we think they might be abusive or whatever. In this day and age, they could have a different political view than you, and you're going to vote them the fuck out.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's just like what they want. I mean, I don't know if they've necessarily gotten that right to do that yet by Image.
Right.
But that is a hell of an ask. It's like their editorial doesn't know better, so like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, at time of press, Image Comics management has not formally responded to the formation of the union itself.
Yeah. And like I said, be anxious to see how it plays out. And we as collectors, and then if you talk speculation and flipping, we're always relating comic books to media, to video, to television, and it's just another parallel that's running closer. Because Dan, I'm sure you could probably speak better to this than I can, but unions are big within the movie industry, television industry, and all that, to where, if this is going to be so parallel to that form of media, it's not unusual to see.
I just there's just so much more money in film and TV that like I don't totally get what's going on. I just don't have a big picture of what's happening.
I wonder how many employees they have. You know what I mean? Like how many people are in that union, or that's the other thing. Like Image doesn't. How many employees do you think Image has?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's something that they have on like maybe LinkedIn or. But
it's Todd.
I haven't heard
it's
too many
Eric,
people talking about it yet either. This in general. I know it's relatively new. I mean, this story came out this morning.
This morning, 8:56 a.m.
So.
And well, the other thing is that other kind of semi-big Image news came out today too. So that's probably why we're not hearing much about this. They're kind of like trying to not talk about this, maybe.
Are you talking about the Todd?
Yeah.
Go ahead and bring it up. I mean, we don't have any graphics, but it was late breaking, right?
Yeah.
McFarlane.
Yeah, McFarland coming out. McFarland, as a lot of people like to say, he even makes fun of it. It seems, but yeah, McFarland's gonna have a new, what is it? Production company, I guess. Production.
Yeah, I mean, he was already kind of going that way with his Spawn universe stuff, anyways, right? So now
Yeah.
he's adding to it.
Yeah, McFarland launches TV production unit, announces McFarland and Thumb series. People started talking about this today. I think that's how I first heard about it. Is people talking, about this book, trying to find this book, this Thumbs book. But to me, the most important thing here is this, right? Talks on Hollywood as an outsider and plotting Spawn universe. That's what I care about right there. Give me more of that. Come on. Like, let's rock this. Let's get this thing done. So, it's very interesting. I feel like he's kind of doing his thing right now, that he wants to make sure that he gets this movie done, or this world put on, on the big screen or on TV or something. So he's going to do whatever it takes. And if that takes starting his own production company, then right.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Todd McFarlane. You gotta give him credit for. I mean, he's like the Frank Sinatra of comics, right? He does it his way. I mean, we were just talking about NFTs being big, and he was just talking about how he wanted to do NFTs but make them affordable, and he's always thinking things a little bit differently, and he markets the stuff the way he wants to market it, and it seems to always do well.
Yeah, look at his toys, man.
Yeah.
His toys, he makes so much money off of toys, it's unreal, and he continues to innovate in that toy world, right? It was pretty amazing when he got the DC rights to make all the toys. So
yeah, that was interesting.
And the sports figures before that, with the Chase sports figures.
Yes. Think how long ago that was. Some people don't even know about those old school McFarlane sports figures and how big they were.
Yeah,
like it was a big deal, man. It put starting lineup out of business.
Yeah, I got some Robert Griffin the third ones if you want some.
Oh boy, yeah. So this is very interesting. I guess Deadline did a nice little interview with him, where he talks a little bit more about the Spawn stuff. But very interesting to see what's going to be coming from there. Image is a still a pretty amazing place, and you got some amazing creators over there that are just kind of staying quiet, and McFarlane's not one of them. I think the two guys that you hear about the most are him and Liefeld, right? They're constantly making moves.
Yeah, and then of course Kirkman right behind him from Skybound side.
Yeah. I feel Kirkman's more quiet lately, though. Is that kind of feel that way?
You can say that, but then when you got all this Invincible news busting at the seams,
right. Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah, he's doing
less
Netflix
splashy.
Stuff.
He's
less splashy. That's the best way to put it. Yep.
Chew on this, and then shit just goes crazy.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
But McFarlane's gonna let you know about it, and I mean, he has the right to, right? I mean, I love his Facebook page. If you're not following him on Facebook, the videos he does, he even does like how to draw videos on there. He does giveaways. It's always fun to watch on Halloween because he does his little company's Halloween costumes. Last year he was Tully from Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
which is great. But
he also is really good at showing when he shows, like he's so hands-on everything in his business. Like he'll even show test figures and why the changes they're making and why they're making them, why he wants the changes, and whether it's paint
his
or
passion
sculpt.
shows through.
Yes, big time.
It's not like, hey, I'm doing toys because they sell. The guy's like, hey, I'm doing this because no one else was doing them the way that I wanted them to collect them, so I'm doing them the way that I want people to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a really good article, and if you guys are interested in hearing what's coming up and new, and what when we might be seeing more about, Spawn universe on screen, it's definitely worth the read.
Yeah, And that Thumb series, when did that come out? Like 2019? It was. I mean, it was a year or two ago, right? I believe.
That's the
It
is
was a
that the
mini
Thomas
issue
Lennon
series.
one, right?
Yeah. I want to say it was a mini series, maxi series, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 issues, and they were almost double sized issues. They're pretty heavy duty, and it was one of the first books out of Image that I remember having a really thick cover stock or cardstock cover compared to what Image usually puts out.
Yeah.
But staying with some comic news, we got some news coming from Marvel too, right, Andy? Oh, Beardo?
Oh, we do, and I'm gonna follow suit with McClay here and try this because I liked how that worked with just the screen sharing function here. Because Marvel's new Iron Fist probably is a Chinese hero that's been waiting in the wings for years. I'm kind of excited about this one. They may have
And it's one
revealed
that we know of.
the new Iron Fist for in the moment it announced Danny Rand's retirement. So I'm actually kind of digging this news. I'm pretty excited. You know, Marvel's reveal the hero will become the new Iron Fist, taking the mantle from Danny Rand. Frames the character's identity as a mystery to be solved when his just announced limited series kicks off in February 2022. But one of my favorite parts about this is they actually put some pieces of the puzzle on the cover, and it's a great ASM 50 homage here. But then you got Iron Fist suit laying in the trash there. You've got what appears to be the shards of the Swordmaster's sword, and then also in the reflection of the window above his right shoulder is a reflection of one of the demons from the Swordmaster series, if I remember correctly. And there's one of the hands just above the trash can. So I really like how they've kind of planted some imagery here to. I'm not going to call this a slam dunk, but this feels pretty good. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, and it's important to know that Games Radar, who's running this article, is not confirming it, but they're like major speculating on the cover and pulling their Columbo that's saying it's Swordmaster. I don't think they're actually confirming it in the article, but from everything they're pointing out, to me, I would agree kind of points in that direction. And we already have talked about that War of the Realms, Ages of Atlas book plenty of times. And then I just shared the video again on Twitter about how years ago we talked about Cover A being a long-term play, which is now what, $100 book or somewhere around there. I think this is just going to add more heat to that book with Swordmaster. And then I'm all about seeing him become the new Iron Fist. I haven't read Iron Fist in a while. My last favorite Iron Fist series was when Matt Fraction was writing it.
Yep.
But I like seeing the changing of the guard and seeing the new characters and I like seeing that we talked about Ages of Atlas before and how that whole Asian influence was coming into comics in a big way, where I don't know if it will or not. I think Dan has touched on this as well, where, you know, it's kind of that crossover. It's not quite manga or anime, but it kind of brings you into that realm a little bit more. And I think that's a perfect story, perfect situation. And like you said, a perfect storm. And I'm kind of excited to read Iron Fist again.
What's happening with Danny Rand? What's going on with him?
He's dying.
The article
gone.
didn't go
What'd he
into
do?
depth on why they were retiring him, and like Brian said,
Well,
the article.
we know why they're retiring him, right?
Because he doesn't sell comics?
Yeah, that's why we're retiring him. Yeah, and he doesn't sell comics, and he doesn't get views on TV shows either. That's why they're retiring. They're trying to change something up. But are they gonna is he just gone? Are they gonna maybe try and make him a new hero or something? That's interesting. You know,
No one's ever gone in comics.
I remember when he gave up the thing, he was just like, I don't want to deal with it anymore. So he gave it up, right? Recently.
Yeah.
So
Taylor brings up a good point there. If it's Swordmaster, new writers might not get creator royalties.
ooh.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So for the first appearance of Swordmaster, it's actually the War of the Realms New Agents of Atlas issue 2.
Yep.
And White Fox, who's the leader of the Korean team, is her first appearance in Contest of Champions issue 1.
She's
Which, like, everyone's sleeping on this.
There was a sweet variant for that too, right? If I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah, by
Hard to
you.
get.
Yeah. These characters coming, folks. I mean, like Marvel knows how popular the stuff is in Asia and how important it is in Asia. So these characters coming. I mean, but how's Marvel doing, huh? I guess that we're gonna talk about that soon.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I like the homage cover, but then I like the other Iron Fist #1 cover that's just got the new Danny Rand. Well, the new Iron Fist. It looks like on the cover.
I like the costume. The costume's really good. It's
But
really
I
good.
also want to know how he becomes Iron Fist.
Well, one of the things that they say in the article is that maybe when that sword gets broken, that he like all that power goes into him, and that's how he gets the Iron Fist power, or something similar to the Iron Fist power, right? Because doesn't Iron Fist usually have to get the power by beating one of the dragons or something like that?
I don't remember if it was specifically like beating the dragon, but I do remember seeing the article mention that they have to insert his hands or something to do with the dragon to be imbued with that power. And that's how it kind of was similar, where the sword was a similar power but more sinister, and the sword breaking, if it takes over Linlai, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, then therein lies the power, but there's like a sinister element to it too that I'm kind of interested to hear more about and read more about.
Yeah, and then Drew brought up a good point about that Swordmaster #1 1 in 50 variant. One to look out for as well. I mean, this doesn't come out till February, but I think it's one thing to bring up now, and then, so February you're hitting previews in December, right? So if it's something that interests you, I would still be on the lookout for that War of the Realms, Ages of Atlas, and that those Ages of Atlas books also, right? Even the what are those books called where they were spotlighting the characters, and then they had like the Raza variants for them. Oh,
Yeah.
brain
Those
farting.
books.
But they had like
they
EO,
feature.
and like each one had like a Raza variant spotlighting each one of the characters from. They were hot. The Raza Virgin variants or whatever were like super hot. They were like, but the people weren't picking up the regular covers.
And those regular covers were heavily overlooked at the last two conventions I went to.
Yep. And you're muted if you're trying to talk, McClay. Okay.
You're
You're in deep thought.
No, I was talking to myself.
Yeah.
Hmm.
X gonna give it to you.
Well, speaking of Marvel and MCU, we talked a little bit about how bad the Danny Rand show was. We probably ought to get into the big movie thing that's happening this week. Eternals. I know that everybody's talking about the Rotten Tomatoes score, right? I think the last time I looked, it was 60%. Let's take a look and see if it's changed.
58%, I think, right now.
Okay, so it's about the same. And I mean, don't get me wrong, wasn't that the same with Shang-Chi? Like, the Rotten Tomatoes score was really low on the critic side, and then when the people saw it, they loved it. So again, I think another big problem with this, though, is that you hear people talking more about the end credit scenes in this than they do the regular movie. Let me get rid of this here. Nope, I don't want to enable ads for Rotten Tomatoes. There we go. So 56%. Yeah, that's.
You're way off. Samsonite.
Shang-Chi did really well with the critics.
Okay,
actually.
did well with the critics.
Yeah.
All right.
They loved it.
I don't know, man. I think this is a really hard story to tell, and from the spoilers that I've heard, it's kind of a little annoying the way that the route they went to me. I don't want to get into spoilers and talk, say why, but I think what we're going to get with this is we're going to get those end credit scenes, which are really going to energize people. So I think this is going to be like another Venom 2 type thing where, people were excited at first. The movie wasn't as good as it thought, but the end credit scene made up for it. Well, there's supposedly 2 end credit scenes in this that when they, screened it, people like clapped for and stood got really excited for in the theater. So that'll be very interesting. Of course, it's gonna play over big into the back issue hunting world. Do I think that this movie is gonna we're gonna see a ton of people buying Eternals books? No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think that one of the problems with this is that they're having to tell a pretty far out there story in a really short period of time, and the characters feel kind of off. They've always kind of felt off to me, and the characters that people were really looking forward to, aka Kit Harington and the Black Knight and that type of stuff, you literally don't get any of that. Like, he's not the Black Knight yet in this. He's just a regular dude, and that's known. So we'll see. I'll tell you what, though, I am definitely going to be selling as many of my Eternal stuff that I can find. But again, the big look on it is what we're getting on the end credit scenes, which set up more of a cosmic play. I was actually really looking forward to this to being like a real cool cosmic movie and this and that. And, if you know the story about the Eternals, basically to set it up, the way that they're playing it in this movie is, the Celestials who are made by Eternity, right? Is it Eternity that makes the Celestials? Eternity is like the maker of everything in the Marvel Universe. And Eternity made the Celestials to go and create farm planets. They're to basically create humans and beings. So the Celestials created the Eternals specifically to guard like a world soul in the earth that is an egg of a Celestial. So it's a kind of a weird take. It feels a lot like World of Warcraft to me, which I guess it's kind of cool. But for all you gamers out there that play that game, that whole tale. I'm still looking forward to see it just for like I said, the end credit scenes, and of course, who doesn't love Selma Hayek? So even nowadays,
and Angelina Jolie.
Sometimes she's a little too skinny, though.
I think what's also hard for this is Eternals isn't a mainstream group, so there's even less margin for error where you almost need that Guardians of the Galaxy type. I mean, it's hard to say because I haven't seen the movie yet, but Guardians of the Galaxy was the same way. People are like, who? And then it was just one of those fun movies to watch, and it made people love a raccoon that they didn't know about before.
Yes.
So I think that is added to it, and critics is always different than the public as well. We've seen plenty of, who knows, this might be something that doesn't do well at the box office and then becomes a cult hit later on down the road as like the cult Marvel movie that, to me, critics loved Iron Man 3 and I hated Iron Man 3. I didn't like Iron Man 3. I like Iron Man 2 better than Iron Man 3. But
yeah,
I don't know. This article does a really good job of bashing this movie right into the ground, in my opinion, on lots of.
It's just a review, right? I mean,
yeah, it was essentially a review, and they didn't speak very highly of this movie in the bulk of the article. Really, I don't even think I remember a portion of this article that saw a shining light or a good part of the movie. At one point, years ago when this was announced, I was really excited. Then, as confusion kind of set in for a lot of people in the community, I was kind of, there was a little bit of rain on my parade. Now I'm at the point where I just want to go see a good movie and be entertained. And I don't mean that to be like the Marvel that has blown off the roof and 10 out of 10, and just a movie that looks good, that I can be entertained with. It doesn't have to be perfect. So
escape
I'm willing to
from
give this
reality
a try.
for 2 hours.
Yep, exactly. I'm willing to give this a try this weekend if I can make it out and check out the end credit scenes and maybe report back. But there are a lot of points of this community, and a lot of you guys have mentioned that there's kind of just not well-known characters, not well-known stories, and there's just not a lot of awareness, essentially. So it's going to be a tough sell. I'm in agreement with a couple of guys in the chat that this will probably be a tough sell. But
well, and you can't expect every Marvel movie to be great.
True.
I mean, that's like every Pixar movie isn't great, but you're gonna have some here and there. Can't have the good, the bad without the good without the bad, right? And I'm not saying this is bad. You also remember, if I'm gonna look at these reviews, I when I was pulling the article, I was trying to find a bunch of them. They were all kind of similar framed. I was trying to find some to compare and contrast for this topic, but I pulled Rolling Stone because it was kind of in the middle. But a lot of these people these reviewers, they're not comic people, so check that like more of the comic type sites are saying about it, like the Games Radar, the Newsaramas, I would check those reviews, and even then, remember, movie critics are movie critics. There's plenty of times Siskel and Ebert and all those go and said, I think they trashed Fletch, man, and I loved Fletch as a kid. No.
I was editing a supercut earlier of me talking about how this was coming and how I've been right about this all along. I've been talking about this for months and months and months. But no, I'm kidding. But it's true. I said I think Endgame was the peak. We're gonna see the decline. The last three films, we've seen that. And I also said, because just based on the trailer alone, there was no emotional connection to anything. Whereas like Shang-Chi, we don't know anything about this character, but we felt an emotional connection to the character from the trailer. I can instantly tell if they don't know how to make an emotional connection in the trailer, then they have a big problem, you know. And again, I said continuity, all this stuff is going to throw off the mainstream audiences. You gotten rid of death. You have time travel in the Marvel universe. You can't undo death, like getting rid of death. It really changes stuff, and Feige is not as in control as we think, because they're trying to unify the multiverse, and I think that's like where it's gonna fall apart in the end. Whereas DC doesn't unify their multiverse, so I think in the long term, they might have a more sustainable model as of now, because I think we've seen a peak in the genre. So we'll see, but
I think another part of it is
I saw this coming.
Careful what you wish for, right? We all wanted more MCU. We were excited about the Disney Plus shows, and now that they're all here, me personally, now I have to pay attention to all these to get the bigger picture of the whole storyline as a whole, which I know Dan has brought up as well. But you got more MCU movies coming out. There used to be 2, maybe 3 a year. Now they're up to getting back to 4. And then you get an MCU series, and then somehow, they're saying that they all kind of tie. You don't have to watch each one, but if you want to get that true fan experience and get that whole big picture, and then play, Charlie Day with your little board and strings. But it's hard because there's so much, and then it's like, oh yeah, and then as new stuff comes out. I mean, me in my old age, what comes into my brain housing group, some comes out of it. So then I'm like, wait a minute, where did that come from again? So then it's piecing it back together. But I'm going to see Eternals. I don't know if I'll see it in the theater. I definitely won't be opening weekend. And you mentioned Shang-Chi. If you're a Disney Plus subscriber, that's about to hit Disney Plus as well, if you haven't seen that yet. I think it's the 12th even. So a bunch of people in the chat are putting their stuff in there. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments if you're watching on the replay. Are you going to go see Eternals opening weekend? Are you going to wait till it comes out on streaming? Let us know your thoughts. But it was one that I didn't feel that heat cycle like we did with a bunch of other movies. I mean, it seemed like even Kang kind of hopped over Eternals, even though we knew that movie was coming. People were going after Kang books more than Eternals.
They still kind of are going after those books, which is surprising. I noticed that over the last week or so. Some of those Loki books that got really hot are still selling. So I think that Kang character
Loki was so good, though.
It
was an unexpected show.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree what Dan said about the last couple Marvel movies haven't been great, but their TV stuff has really been good in my opinion. I think it got harshed on a little bit for some silly stuff, but for the most part, all the TV shows were good. They were entertaining. I really liked the Kang stuff. I was surprised at how much I liked the Kang stuff. I felt like Loki really hit all the way through. So
I think Marvel was reaching some sort of like Pixar-esque like bar of quality,
Yeah, and we got
and
the Eternals as the good dinosaur.
it's much shakier now. I mean, even like because it didn't like the shows were okay, but they didn't necessarily always hit that bar that we come to expect. I think the rules are too shifty in their one unified universe. I think that's part of their problem. So you don't know what a bullet can do like anymore. I don't know. Um, I don't know. Just
You have
as
to
a story
suspend
person,
all
I don't.
belief when it comes to comic books.
But they want us to keep it all together, all this like
yeah.
nonsense together. It's like it's hard. I'm like, but you're wearing tights. I don't know. I don't know like how much.
And then I wonder if we're too critical being comic book fans, right? What's that other audience that's just like, hey, I've heard about this comic book movie or whatever, let's go check it out. Are they gonna like it, or are they gonna be like, what the fuck did I just watch?
We'll see. I mean, to me, it looks like it's gonna be the MCU's on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That I'm calling it. Like, it's gonna be seen as like 40 years from now. It'll be seen as a cult classic. Not yet though. Not
Yeah.
for a
Do
while.
you think Warner Brothers is kind of looking at these early reactions and going, glad we canceled the New Gods movie?
You
What do you
know,
think?
I was
I don't
just
think
looking
so.
at that today. Actually, I was looking at New Gods books, and I'm going through all those, great old books, and some of the characters that were should have been part of that movie. And I think New Gods is actually good Kirby. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
Yeah.
really love the New Gods stuff. It's so much better than the Eternals, in my
And yeah,
opinion.
Tom King was writing that script, right?
Yeah, Darkseid's a great character, and how they did the whole trope of trading kids, and they had to bring up each other's kids and the different planets, and Darkseid's an evil SOB, and I love the whole story about that. And I didn't get into the New God stuff till I got older. Well, I think when you're older and you get into New Gods and like the history behind it, the backstory, it makes it more interesting. Eternals I think Eternals was kind of like the Kirby stuff that people went like, eh.
Yeah. But anyways, on a plus side, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, right? So let's go through and tell what our new comic book day picks are for tomorrow. Alberto,
Mm.
Ooh,
do you have a
kind
whole
of tough.
toolbox of every cover of what particular book or anything this week?
Kind of tough. I mean, the 1 in 1,000 House of Slaughter is supposed to be landing this week. I don't see it on my list. Hopefully that lands. But when it comes to great reads, I've got to go with Mr. Guggenheim's Last Flight Out. Issue 3 is out tomorrow, and I cannot wait to see where the story continues to go. I'm really excited to see how they wrap all this up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this supposed to be like a 6-issue miniseries?
Yeah, it's 6 issue. I've read up to the first 3 from that PDF I was provided, and the first 3 were fantastic. This to me spells Netflix. I mean, Dark Horse has that first look Netflix deal. Mark Guggenheim, all over Hollywood, right? He's also writing the Green Lantern series for HBO Max. Um, he basically created the Arrowverse for CW with working on Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. He's worked with Guillermo del Toro for Netflix. Was it Trolls of Arcadia? The guy's all over the place. This story is fantastic, and if it doesn't get Netflix or some type of deal, I think they'd be missing out.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough for telling me not to miss this story. And I got the last copy on the shelf of my LCS when I picked it up. And it's been a page turner, and I've been left wanting more at the end of each issue. So this is essentially the halfway mark. So I can't wait to see where they take this. And then they're going to have to hit a couple of home runs and maybe even a grand slam to pack in the rest of what this could be in 3 issues, because I feel like there is a lot more here to tell yet. But this is what I'm excited for.
Yeah, it's like I said when I was interviewing Mark. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Armageddon, a little bit of Aliens, but yeah, great story so far. McClay.
I have a couple books that I like. An interesting one is this one, it's we did end Halloween. I get it, but
Are you doing the Spawn cover?
no,
Okay.
don't worry.
Oh, I just gave away my pick.
Yeah. The Star Wars Insider.
That's
has
cool.
a-
That's the
yeah,
magazine, though, right?
Yes. So this is the variant. I think it's the PX edition. So they always do. You usually have cool like PX variants or subscriber only variants on the Star Wars Insider. So this is a cool little Halloween one that I think is worth picking up. Also, this for
Oh, wow.
cover play also is gorgeous. Frank Frazetta esque. Kari
Is
Andrews.
that Carrie Andrews cover?
Yeah. Yep.
Or
And
Kari
so,
Andrews?
yeah,
me,
Kari, yeah, however you say it. But yeah, I love this. Again, another just straight cover pull from me, but it could be a really good story. You never know. And then, not to give too much away, but one thing that Brian reminded me about in Baltimore was how great Infinity covers are. And shout out to this great Rick and Morty Infinity cover for Rick's New Hat issue number 4. So for all you Infinity cover collectors,
I would love it even more if they took that orange out and had like I like bright yellow covers as well.
Yes,
and it's just
more yellow and more blue.
Yep,
just like the title. I agree.
Yep.
So those are my picks.
Well, my pick is New Burn from Image Comics, New Burn
nice.
issue 1.
Zdarsky.
Yeah, written by Chip Zdarsky and drawn by Jacob Phillips, who's doing That Texas Blood. And that comic is also excellent. It's still going, you guys. Please pick it up. But yeah, I'm gonna guess this is gonna be an awesome story, and I think these people are spec worthy. if they create any new kind of story world, so I think it's always worth picking up at least one. But these are good people. They make good content, so I'm down.
Yeah, I was definitely excited about that. That was one talked about, especially for FOC. I don't know. I'm just a big Zdarsky fanboy right now.
Yeah,
I'm super excited for Devil Reigns, his Daredevil run, and he's awesome in his creator-owned stuff. So, because he can be funny and then he can write grit.
Is anybody reading crossover?
I have been, but not. I'm not caught up.
Okay. I know he's doing that, right?
Yeah. It's funny if you look at Midtown cover A says written by Chip Zdarsky. The variants are written by Donny Cates though.
Yeah.
I have a couple picks. First pick, I'm gonna be a sales pitch right here, but friend of the channel. You guys might know him as the artist of Kanto, but Drew Zucker. He's got a trade paperback that him and he had a Kickstarter for the house. Now he draws Kanto really well, but he is really good at drawing horror, and they have the house that's coming out from Dark Horse as a trade paperback. If you like World War II and you like horror comics, definitely check out the house from trade paperback. It's a fantastic story in its own right. I was lucky enough to buy a signed copy off of Drew Zucker's site like a couple months ago and absolutely loved it. The other one I had was that Spawn 323, that Bjorn Barons variant.
This one, right? Yeah, I got it for you.
He's bringing up the house right here, there's that Bjorn Barons variant, and that cover is freaking awesome.
Yeah, the dogs, beautiful. Did you see the one with the dogs too?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So the Spawn variants are always in the regular price, so it's always a great buy.
Show the dog one, Andy. If you click out and go down, it's another Bjorn Bendis variant. Not that one. Go down. Here, share my screen. I don't know why it's not coming up on your screen. There you go.
323.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Spawn always has cool covers.
Yeah.
Some of those I pick up and like I don't even read the issue sometimes. I just pick up the covers.
Yeah, that is amazing. Crazy good.
Yeah. So there's my pick, and then I had like a secondary pick of that Chillin' Adventures in Sorcery #1 that comes out tomorrow from Archie Comics. Another great horror comic, and I know friends of the channel 616 Comics has a variant limited 400 copies, but While we're talking about that, I also want to give a shout out to that shitty ass Dodgers fan that's been in the chat. Drew from Wanted Comics. Make sure you guys check him out also. Comics with an X. Wanted, COMIX.com. He's always got great brands up there. In fact, he put in there how he was talking about
Hey, share my screen, Andy.
Primordial #2's coming out.
Yeah.
But I have
Great
a
cover.
copy of
I like that cover.
Primordial
B, though.
#1 signed by J.G. Jones
Ooh.
that we're going to give away right now to someone in the chat. How about that?
Oh.
Awesome.
McClay, I'll
All right,
let you pick out however
right.
you want to give this away.
All right, so I see people that have been chatting it up in the chat. So I'm gonna randomly pick somebody when you guys say stop.
Stop.
Anytime. All right, who we got? We got Chris Greaves for more blurred lines between all the media types is the comment that wins that book. So Chris Greaves.
Chris Greaves, give us a thumbs up emoji. I heard someone's talking FSU. Drew. Sorry, now Drew got sick of talking about my Giants. Now he's talking about my damn FSU Seminoles. But Chris Greaves in the chat, do me a favor, send me an email at simplemanscomics@gmail.com. Give me your mailing address, and we will get this signed copy, Primordial #1, J.G. Jones, out to you. And I have some more books to give away in a couple weeks. We got some stuff signed by Tony Fleece himself. Some Stray Dogs goodness signed by Tony Fleece.
Oh,
These
Chris
are courtesy
is in the
of Drew,
UK.
of Drew at you know what? I don't care. I will send it to you.
I'll throw $10 your way to help cover that, man. It's not that much for a book.
I'm terrible at that. Every time I pick a winner, no matter what show I'm on, it's either Singapore, UK,
Oh, I do it all the
Canada,
time too,
Australia.
you know what? We will get it to him.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Cooler. Makes it even cooler.
Yeah. So, but like I said, we have a couple Tony Fleece signed books. I have a couple more copies of that Primordial also signed by J.G. Jones. So we'll be doing that here in the coming weeks as well. But that being said, guys, we also have one more thing.
Oh, hold on. I can't find my Gone in 60 Seconds DVD. It was just here a minute ago.
One more thing before we get out of here. Andy, what do you got?
I actually got the gumption up and spread my wings and got out of my comfort zone and tried some new content at the last 2 conventions I was at. I recorded my top 5 tips for success at your next comic book convention. So pop over to my YouTube channel. It's literally like a 3, 4, 5 minute video. It's really short. Thumbnails really sticks out. Give that a look, and I want to hear some feedback. I want to know what people think about those tips, and I want to know what their favorite tips are in the comments down below. So that's my one more thing.
McClay.
I'm gonna put a link in the private chat, and then if you wouldn't mind sharing that. This is my one more thing. This is my best friend. Let me redo this. Hold on here. So my best friend has a Kickstarter that he is starting. I'm going to share my screen here. It is for a series that he has created called The Sound Guy, and I'm going to play this real quick.
My name is Keith Obed. I'm the writer-director of The Sound Guy.
My name is Justin Bird. I am actually the assistant director.
Hi, I'm Scott Levesque. I'm director of photography on The Sound Guy.
My name is Cliff. I play Cliff in The Sound Guy. My name is Rich Formey. I play the character Mo.
We are a group of actors, musicians, and filmmakers coming together and joining forces to make the best damn stoner comedy we possibly can.
I really couldn't believe it, actually. I thought this must be a joke.
So I want to give a shout out to all the guys working on this project, and if you guys get a chance, go watch the rest of the video. And if it's something that you think is cool and that is you think is worth backing, I'd appreciate it. Keith, the writer and director of this project, is also my co-host on the Bogcast. And I'm actually I got a role in this, so you'll see McClay in an acting role,
I was
playing
about
myself.
gonna say, as soon as I saw you pull that up, I thought, that'd be something Ryan would like. And there he is. There he is in the chat going, "This looks awesome."
Yeah, so these are all the people that are in it, and if you go all the way down, you even got myself. It says Brian McClay plays Brian. Brian can be found weekly on his two podcasts, Tales from the Flip Side and the Podcast, an avid comic book collector and seller. He made his acting debut in the feature film Late Fees and has been working in Keith's projects ever since. So, anytime your best friend says, "Hey, I'm going to make a role from you in something, go jump into it." Yeah, why not? I'll mess around. So, it was a lot. It's been a lot of fun. We've been filming, stuff for the past couple weeks, and they have a big set they're trying to put together for a huge concert with like 60 extras and a live band playing, and we're renting out a concert venue, little place. So that will be in this late December and January. So a lot of cool stuff. I know Dan lives in this world, and it's fun as an outsider to see it all get put together, and how filming works, and the effort that goes into making a movie or a project is immense. It's a lot of moving pieces that have to go together, and everything that can and will go wrong does. So yeah, a lot of fun, and make sure you guys go check it out. It's the Sound Guys on Kickstarter.
Awesome. You're on mute, bro. You need a sound guy.
Yes, I do. The sound guy. I need the sound guy. And if you look right here on the Kickstarter campaign, it says there are pledge openings here where you could be an extra and get an invite to the premiere. And that's actually pretty dope.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun, man.
Dan, glasses are off. You must be getting serious.
Yeah, so I guess I've been like not making too much content recently because I sort of went on a wisdom quest, and I traveled and I just drove all around the tri-state area and met up with different teachers and healers, and anyway, I'm gonna talk about that kind of stuff on the channel coming up, and some more cooking videos, and finally teach this multiverse meditation thing that I developed or whatever, and that's fun. So that should be fun. I wanna create like a more active form of meditation that anyone can get into, and it's kind of fun, more engaged, more like interesting than what most people are think of it as, to kind of make it something we can just do. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna show.
Nice,
soon.
and that's at Dank Comics on YouTube, right?
Yes.
The link is in the description, so make sure you guys check that out. I have two things real quick. Not one more thing, but two things. One is kind of uplifting, and then one's kind of, well, we'll just get there. So, Marine Corps veteran, getting into this time of year for the holidays. One of the things I always like to talk about is Toys for Tots. So, Toys for Tots, Marine Corps run program by Marine Corps Reserves, where you can donate an unused toy, donate everything, and it makes sure that underprivileged kids, get to enjoy Christmas just like everyone else. And if I'll put the link in the chat as well, and if I can do it right. And if you go there, you can also make sure, if you wanted to, you can donate to your community, not just, hey, it's great to donate to Toys for Tots and whoever gets it, but if you want to make sure someone from your community gets those toys, you can do that as well. But then the second thing I want to talk about is not to end on a sad note, but as we get into the holidays and get into the Christmas time, depression kind of seeks in, and suicide prevention. We're losing friends, we're losing loved ones, we lose veterans. Just within the past week, I've known some people. I know Andy has had some people, so it's an unfortunate thing, and there's help out there, and I'll put that in there as well, where I probably just put that in there wrong. But, reach out to me if you need someone to talk to. I'm happy to talk to anyone on here. I'm sure I'll be happy to talk to. But there's also a prevention outline. And if you know someone that's kind of been secluding away, make sure let people know that you're there to talk to them. It's that time of year, evidently, and it sucks. But it's great to be around family, but it's also a time where a lot of people deal with depression. So just want to say Toys for Tots and then suicide prevention. We're here as a community, and I'm sure everyone else here can speak to that as well. But like I said, I hate leaving on a kind of a somber note. But if someone needs someone to talk to and you reach out and talk to me, then it's not a somber note at that point. We're here for you guys. And I'm sure everyone else here can say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate everyone in the chat. If you guys are watching this on the replay, or if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, the Simple Men's Comics podcast, thank you guys so much. With that being said, it's Brown with Simple Men's Comics. See you guys in the next video.
Look. They talking like they don't know a king when they see one. See him in person, he take it back like a refund. Ballin' with my brothers, all my playing D1. Daily checking chicken, he gon' spin it watching reruns. Say they